Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. How are you? Hope you're okay, and I hope you've had a restful weekend if you're listening to this on the same day or within the week that I've listened to. If you haven't and you listen to a different time, no problems at all. But I hope you feel rested if you've got to about this stage in my recordings, 112 episodes in. You'll fully appreciate and acknowledge when I say to you, are you rested? What I mean, as in exactly what I talk about: meditation, reflection, all the good stuff. And I'm in a bit of a, to be honest, I'm in a bit of a whirlwind today. I feel a little bit excited. I'm a little bit wired. I've had some disappointing news, and then I've kind of on the back of that done exactly what I could to rectify that. And by that, what I mean is, so as you probably know, I was, if you've listened to previous podcasts, I was obviously looking to move. Unfortunately, the house move fell through, so it didn't go through. And I said to the family, this was going to be my last sort of stressful chance at looking, because we've looked quite a few times, and to be honest with you, it just is an infuriating process for me. So I'm drinking gin. So I've got a little bit of I was drinking gin before I came because I was swigging it down. But anyway, before I digress. So, I was kind of... It's been a bit of a whirlwind. So, it's kind of managing it. Like I said, I had the big news. I was moving house. And, it was going to be for the better. I've had some, like I said, I keep transferring myself back. But I've had a lot going on in the family lately. And we were just looking for a fresh start. And I was looking for a fresh start. Deep down, I wanted the move. But at the same time... I didn't want the stress. I wanted the fresh start, but I didn't want the stress of it. And the other person was unpredictable from the day dot. So it's been a bit of a difficult one. But we made the executive decision yesterday morning, I think it was, that I said, that's it then. Kibosh it now. I'm not dealing with the stress. The house we're in is beautiful. It was just to upcycle the house, or not upcycle, but just to upgrade the house by one extra bedroom. Wouldn't have gained much floor space, but we would have gained a bedroom, so it would have given the girls a bit more quality of life. However, these are hard times at the moment, so, every penny counts. So when you need to find that extra money, etc., it is difficult. So I had reservations, I had the financial impact, but I knew the emotional impact of the move was going to be outrageously good. It was going to be good for us all, but anyway, it didn't happen. There's nothing I can do. I got stressed. I did get stressed about it. I got stressed when I knew that the reality kicked in as well, actually. I did get quite negative. And do you know what? My wife recently, I don't know whether there's something going on. I've had a lot of pressure, but it's not pressure that I've put on, I've had from external people. But it's just I've had a lot of pressure. I'm struggling with handling life at the moment. And my wife was listening to music, and it was after I'd had a bit of a heated discussion with her about the whole move, saying, right, that's it, I'm kiboshing it now, I'm done, I'm not moving anymore, I can't do with this stress in, stress out, stress in, stress out. I wanted the move, I geared myself up for the move. I started moving things and taking things down, making things better, and discarding all the crap. And it didn't happen. So I was naturally stressed. And do you know what? Unfortunately, I took that out on Zoe. And that was a horrible thing. I didn't, not physically, but emotionally. I was, basically, she was giving me looks, and I was like, are you fucking stupid? And it was, I went into that whole horrible place. However, I went outside, and I was like, right, I need to go and do something, because I acknowledge I'm being a dick now. So then I went back in, and she had her headphones on, and I was like, what, you got your headphones on? She was like, I don't like hearing you, so I blank you out now. And I'm like, anyway, that hit a nerve with me. because I was like, all right, okay, so this is 2 things now in the morning that I've acknowledged and I'm a bit stressed about. What the fuck am I going to do? So anyway, I carried on, and we came round to the afternoon, and this is where the positive side of me came in. So, straight away, I need to make this house feel like a new house. So the design head came in. The inner depths of my designed creativity come out. And I was like, right, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. It's probably going to be impossible, but I'm looking at cheap ways of upcycling and all that sort of stuff. And just doing it slow time, but I'm not a slow pace person. I'm normally all in and all go. And that's what I said, this morning I made this decision. So I'd gone from being this frustrated wanker, fucking like, rah, kicking off to, right, I need to make this place a family home again. And there's nothing wrong with my house, by the way. My house is lovely. But I just needed that fresh start. I almost needed it to feel like, right, this is the fresh start we're going to do. So I said to the girls, I said, whatever you want in your room, give me the gold standard of what you would like to happen in your room. Paint, design, what do you want? Do you want me to go free reign on it and give me a colour spectrum? Whatever you want to do. And, come back to me the gold standard. And then what I'll do is I will... I'll bring it down to a realistic standard, but give you as best I can, but it'll give me ideas. And this is what tends to happen with me. You give me a suggestion and I will run with the suggestion. That's how I work. It's how my creative mind is always. If you just said to me, I want a fucking military theme, that's a massive spectrum. So you need to detail it down. I want a World War II theme, or, I want a Scottish theme, whatever you want. These are just things off the cuff, but that's how I work. I work on the theme, and then I go bosh and I make it better. I take your idea and I fucking make it better. So that's what I've always done. When people dictate to me exactly what they want, I don't do it. And you've heard this in previous podcasts. I just don't do it. I'm like, fucking tell me to do something, I'm not interested. Give me free reign. Just give me a colour palette and we'll see what we can come up with. And I'm pretty successful. I've got a pretty high success rate of delivering. So I made that decision, and then, anyway, so I had this little argument on my thing and a couple of suggestions, the headphones. These all came into play, and it was stewing on me, and then I was like, right, I need to make this better. So then my design head kicked in, so I went quiet then, and I almost went hyper-focused. I was like, fucking, that's all I could think about. I was like, I just need to take a week off now, and I can do the whole house in a week. That's literally where my mind went. I didn't go, I'm going to do a fucking, like, a room a month. I was like, if I take a week off and then I price things up, I could probably do it for about £600, which is out of my realm anyway. But do you know what I mean? I would have gone, right, okay, well, I'll put £600 on the fucking credit card and then I'll just pay it back later. But it will make the house magical now. That's how I work. So all this was calculating, going in my head, how long it's going to take me to do each room. And I've already given a lot of thought to this, because when I was going to move across to the new house, I'd already had all the rooms designed in templates on my Pinterest of what I liked and what I know works and how to do it. And then I'd already cross-researched, if I'd seen something, how to make it. So I'd already seen, like, you see a picture and you go, okay, that's a good picture. What's the foundation? How do they do that? And then I research, okay, can I buy it cheaper? No. Can I make it cheaper? Yes. How do I make it cheaper? YouTube, fucking where you go. That's my process map of what I do all the time on everything. You can pretty much predict me in how I do these things. So, I'd gone through all this, and then, so it came to about 1 o'clock, and my wife came in. She was obviously a little bit disgruntled with me, but not disgruntled with me, just a bit hurt, because I'm a bit of a twat when I've been like this. Anyway, we sat in the car. This is going somewhere, so you get fully understand it. We sat in the car, and as I always say with everybody, I'm an open and honest person. And I said to my wife, I said, right, okay, I understand. I said a few things, and that's why you put your headphones on. I hugely apologise for that. However, your facial expressions and the way that you were looking at me when I was suggesting why I'd had enough of the moving bollocks. I said, I'd pandered, I'd given it 2 weeks for the move to start happening, and it didn't. And then we got to the 3rd week and it didn't happen, and then we got blocked and it all just got fucking removed. And I was like, okay, I knew this was going to happen. I pretty much predicted it, but that's the arrogance in me, so I didn't say that. I turned around and said, you know, your facial expressions, when I've already given you 3 weeks of my life, when I wanted to carry on with my dream home, and this is what I had planned over the next year, was get the house to a fucking spot on, fresh new standard. I know it's done for the next, I'd like to say 10 years, but realistically 5 years before I get bored. And then I was like, and then I can start looking at doing holidays and things, because I know my house is perfect, it's maintainable, I can go and enjoy holidays. That's the process map for that. So I'd already done all this, I'd already done all the research. But I spoke to her and I was like, you know, I've given you the 3 weeks, I've pandered down to this, you know, I've been around and I'd done fucking 2 house visits, and they'd done 2 house visits, and we chatted bollocks and all this sort of stuff, and it was good. I knew there was problems, and anyway. So I just wanted to get on with it. And I was like, right, okay, so can you just say to me now, right to my fucking face, that, you know, this is what I said, that we are not going to talk about this anymore, and you're going to allow me to do what I do and make this house amazing for you. Just let me do that. And she was like, she looked at me and she went, yeah. And that was after. So anyway, we got in the car, we sat down, and I said, well, it was your facial expressions when I explained to you that I'd given you time, I'd given you what you wanted, I'd pandered down to your needs, and all I wanted now was the process to end, and I've given you an extra week. I want it to end. My mental state was like, I'd stressed out and had enough. And she went, well, we have. And I said, no, I wanted you to just say it, but you wouldn't say it, and it really upset me, because once I get that acknowledgement and I get that acceptance that you're willing to acknowledge that that's it, done and dusted, we're never going to talk about it again, we're just going to live our lives here until the kids have fucking flown the coop and they're not reliant on us anymore. Fucking hell, I don't know whether that'll ever happen, but I'm optimistic that, you know, my youngest is not far off. You know, not far, it's about 4 years away. So, you know, that'd be make us 16. So if all of them can fuck off around, that'd be great. Each one at 16, it just makes my life a bit easier. But I don't mean it. Does he? And then, you know, so it's kind of like, I just want to settle here until that 10-year point when they've all gone off and they've all relaxed and they're all settled, and then I'll look for somewhere rural and downsize. I just want a little 2-bed cottage in the middle of some fucking village like Emmerdale. That's all I want, a pub and a little shop. I don't fucking care, and loads of fields just to walk and buy 2 dogs and relax. That's all I want in life. So, you know, I kind of wanted that, but I wanted that acknowledgement, and I didn't get it. I just got frowns and stupid faces, and I can't work like that. I work on let's go yes and no. I'm a black and white person. I know there's a grey area, and I teeter in the grey area with a lot of things. I get there's a grey area, but I like a final decision, a yes or a no. That's what I like. And then when I know, I stare you in the fucking face and you say to me, that's it, we're done, and no more, we will not talk about moving again, I will move on. And then I did. Within 2 hours, that's what I said, we were going off to the shop, and I said to her, you know, we got in the car, and I was chatting to her, and I said, you know, and she turned around to me and she said, you know what, I get hurt when you say those, you know, when you say horrible words, and like, you know, sort of say fucking idiot and all this sort of stuff. And I go, yeah, do you know what? And she said to me, you've been really, really short fused lately. She said, I know, but you've got a very little tolerance. And I went, because I'm so stressed with like family life because of what's happened recently, I haven't really been able to do anything with it. I've just kind of been blocking it out. Work's not gone exactly as I wanted, but it's getting better. I don't know. It's just a mixture of things, you know. And then with the house move, and I was like uncertain whether I was going to be starting afresh or I can freshly start the house. And that's what I wanted to do. I've wanted to do it for a while because I wanted to tidy things up, fix holes in the walls properly, paint everywhere, put proper edging on the skirting boards, you know, on the top of the laminate, all those sort of things, lino the fucking kitchen. I could bore you to death all the length, but I wanted to do it all, and ultimately finish with a nice big shower wet room. I don't think I'm going to have to just install that a weekend when no one's around, but so, you know, it's kind of, and so we had this back and forth. It was amazing. It was like, you know, transparency. And I said, well, you just need to give me that acknowledgement. And we had this transparency, and we did. We came to a nice conclusion. We said, right, it's fine, and let's put it to bed. And we spoke it out. And that to me was just the best thing. It was the way to deal with it. And I'm understanding more about myself as I reflect and as I understand my processes. I am getting better. I'm acknowledging shit. I'm cutting it short. It's not a day of fucking stupidness and angriness. It's, it's 5-10 minutes, and then it's a fucking hell shit. But then I always like to talk about it at the end. I always like to discuss. And that sort of brings me on. I mean, and I know I've been stressed a little bit lately because, last week I was away. I had a week away with work, and I got into this discussion with my boss, and it was a small conversation. It started off so small, and the conversation was just two men, and I know we're quite similar, both of us, me and my boss, in the terms of we're quite headstrong. And basically what happened was we had this scenario, and then we got into a subject where we were talking about my opinions on Black Lives Matter. And I said, well, I don't really have an opinion on it because I don't really understand most of it. I don't understand enough about the history of it, etc., etc. So I don't really want to comment on it. I don't really, and it doesn't affect me directly inside my life, and that might sound arrogant. It might sound a bit... what's the word I'm looking for? I don't really know. Uneducated. It may do. And I'm only picking those words out because they were words that were used against me, because I was like, well, no, I don't want an opinion on this. And this is certainly where I talk about, do I need to understand it? Well, I don't really. If it affected me directly, yes. But there's a lot of things that I don't know. So I didn't sort of have an opinion on this. But it turned into a heated discussion, into a nearly full-blown argument. And then it was, in the end, we did talk it out. And that's where I talk about, even though I knew I was stressed, and I think he's had a bit of pressure as well. And we're very like-minded, strong-headed people. And we had a bit of a clash, which left the room a bit awkward. It wasn't just me and him. But then the beauty of it was, it happened. Okay, I was... obviously, I wasn't in a very rational place, possibly, although the context of the argument was very much on, two different people with two completely different upbringings trying to argue about the same point. That's the crux of it. That's the foundation of the argument. So it was never going to win. No one was going to ever win from the argument. But the beauty of it was that afterwards... we spoke about it. Otherwise, we could have just done what most men, go our separate ways, and potentially, like most men do, never talk again. But I didn't. I went up to him and said, you said these things, and I don't agree with that. I think you were fucking hurtful. And the argument ended up talking, and he had an opinion on me, and I had an opinion on him. Or, no, not an opinion on him. He didn't have an opinion on me. He put some things in my way, and I basically... came back at him from from a different angle, and we ended up just coming to loggerheads. But the thing is, we spoke afterwards, and I said to him, you did this, that upset me, da-da-da-da-da, and he went, yeah, well, da-da-da-da-da, this upset me with you. And I went, okay, I can rectify all of them, because they're very easy. So we did, we spoke it out, and he said, I apologise, and he said, I can rectify those. And we did, we actually came to a resolution. And I think that's good, because obviously we work together, but also at the same time, you have to be willing to do that. It's very easy to walk away. I thought it might have gone that way. I didn't know what he was like. I didn't want it to go that way. But I would have said to him, at the end of the day, let's have a chat if he hadn't have come out and sort of spoke to me. But we had resolution, and that was the beauty of it. And that's where this process comes in. Sometimes, even with your partner, your parents, your siblings, your children, whatever it may be, sometimes just by actually talking about the argument rather than sitting there and going, I don't fucking care, or, oh yeah, he's a complete and utter knob, or he just did this, or my husband's done that, or my wife's done this, or my children have done that. And very much so, if you talk about these things, and I know that sometimes they can be quite hurtful when you say. You have to be careful when you're addressing a conversation with somebody. You have to be careful how you deal with it, because it can be quite sensitive, especially if you were in the wrong or they were in the wrong, depending on where the argument sat. It depends. It depends on what the reaction may be. But if you approach it properly, you'll get that resolution out of it. And this is what I do. I've done it with my children. And, I'm like I said, I'm an honest person. Now, I remember, and it did upset my daughter, actually, and I had a little bit of lessons learned from this, because I walked up to my daughter, and she was absolutely booting off. She was making me feel shit, and it was about money and about a couple of other things, and I just went, fucking, I've really felt the pressure. That pressure that I felt, that almost probably what my dad felt when I was younger, and I spoke to you a couple of podcasts ago about that, and for me, that was the pressure I was feeling, and anyway, I walked away, and it really boiled on me. And I was thinking, fucking hell, I can't accept this, but I don't know how to articulate it. But I just went up to her and I just said to my daughter, I said, your actions there were totally uncalled for. You're actually affecting my mental health with how you're reacting now. And I don't mean that from a mollycoddle point of view. I was like, you've actually added stress to my life. Now, obviously, it was difficult because she was 3 years old, so I didn't really sort of know. I didn't get much, but no, she wasn't. She was 14. Fucking hell. But I had you going there. You were like, fuck yeah, didn't he? But, she was like 14. And I was like, and I give a lot of leeway. I give a lot of leeway for the children. I really do, and I understand. But sometimes you've got to say to yourself, you're putting pressures on me here that I can't do nothing about. They're out of my parameters. You're asking me for things that I can't fucking get hold of at the moment. And it's a lot of pressure. It's an absolute lot of pressure. And I spoke about that, like I said, in a couple of podcasts ago. It's the pressure of being a dad. And having to, find the funds to do things. To do, like this, I divert back to the house. The whole house. That was it. Yeah, so sorry, I had a pure digression there, didn't I? But obviously the whole house is a big thing, and that's because I want to make it better for them. And my daughter very much. I think it's a difficult thing to be open and honest, but at the same time, the advantage of it is, and this is where I cast my mind back to talking to my wife when we were being open and honest. She said, that hurts me. This is why I do this. And I said, well, your acknowledgement isn't it's very immature, etc., etc. Let's hash it all out. Just acknowledge, my process. You know me fucking 20 odd years. You know my process. So it kind of gets to the point where you're sort of saying, you need that kind of feeling, that you understand. You should understand how I work, and it sort of makes me, even then I had to cast my mind back. It does. It's a difficult thing to manage, and because I'm so hot flustered and I am a bit reactive. Everyone's laughing at the bit reactive. Fucking hell, mate. You're like litmus paper. You know what I mean? And I am, and do you know what? It can be quite stressful for me as well at the same time. But I kind of go to the point where we spoke, and this is where, and I went back up, and the same with my daughter. When I mentioned that, I went up and she sort of said, I said to her, how did you feel about that conversation about an hour or so later? And she said, no, it hurt me that you used that as mental health. And I said, well, no, I'm just giving you the facts, the reality. Especially your generation, you said to me, you came in and you had X, Y, and Z, and you had problems. And what did I do? I sat there, you at 11, dealing with these crises of, the sexuality, what sexuality you are, and all these sort of things, the things that people go through, but we're a lot more open and honest about things nowadays. And I said, so I've allowed you to do that. So I want you to feel it from my angle. And I think we've got a greater relationship for it. And I think that, I'm a better husband and father for it because I understand my children. I want them to be open and honest. If I don't do something and I can't come back with an honest answer, then I've failed. And very much so, if they annoy me or upset me, I'm just a bit like, I'm just going to tell you that's affecting me. There's nothing I can do. Your attitude and demeanour and your fucking pitch of voice is all there, but it's not going to change the outcome because I've been as honest as I can. If I can't afford something, or I can't get something, or I can't physically drop you off somewhere because my car doesn't work, or I haven't got the time, I'm not fucking lying to you. I'm pretty open and honest. By now, I'd tell you. And to the point where they say to me, can you go take me to McDonald's? I'm like, fucking no. Why? Because I'm fucking lazy. I don't want to go. I don't want to drive. Why should I drive to get you McDonald's? No, just cook some fucking food. Do you know what I mean? And I am, and I'm open and honest about it. Why do you have to be on the beck and call for everybody? Oh, your children. Fucking no, it doesn't matter. You have to learn the word no. So it's important. It's all life lessons. But I'm an honest. I don't, people might look at my parenting style and say, well, that's a bit fucking strong. Maybe. But, I was raised, under an iron hammer, if you like. And it's given me a lot of respect. For my elders, a lot of respect for the people around me. It's given me the drive and the passion I've got to be in who I am now. All of that by being raised the right way, I think, and I never ever raise my hand to my children. I don't need to. They know. I just talk to them. We just talk. It's not shouting anymore. It's, right, let's have a family sit down. Right, this is a bit fucking stupid. What you doing? Nothing I can do about it. You're being a dick. Stop being a dick. If you try smoking again, I'm going to rip your fucking fingers off. That sort of context, really. And that's where I go. That's the kind of conversation I have. But anyway, and to go back, more importantly, to go back, so we got to the thing. So we had this conversation with my wife, and we were sat there. We got it all out in the air, and she went, well, what are you doing? Wet in the range. And straight away in the range, I went, right, pick a colour, let's go. She went, what? And I chucked some things in a basket, and this was Saturday afternoon. And Saturday evening, normally when I'm completely shattered, not doing a lot, Saturday evening I was full blown. I was, instead of fucking drinking and doing nothing, watching TV, I was stripping the living room. I was filling all the holes in the wall, taking everything off so we can put everything up fresh, and masking everything off. And then I got up at 7 o'clock the next morning. And, again, normally it's like 10 o'clock on a Sunday for me, unless I'm playing golf. And I did sack off golf, which did upset me, but I got hyper focused on this, and I went straight away out because I wanted to prove to my girls, that I wanted to show them what I'm capable of, and just go, right, you've seen the living room, you've seen it dingy it looks or whatever, and it's not dingy, it's a nice living room, but I'm saying it, that's how it felt, and I wanted that fresh sparkle. So I picked this colour. Well, I chose this colour, actually. I said pick a colour. She couldn't really pick a colour. So I went, well, let's pick this. I wanted something sort of dark greenish, but I don't think it would have gone because you need a big, open kind of, big windows, loads of light to make the greens kind of pop. It would have looked a bit dingy in ours. So instead I went for Caribbean steel. And it's like this beautiful aqua colour. And I started at 7 in the morning, and I'd finished everything, like 2 coats, everything prepped, everything on the wall, back to the living room by 2:30 in the afternoon. And that was, and then also, completing a gift that I'm making for my friend. I'm hoping it's completed. I've had a bit of a nightmare, but I'm hoping. I've kind of. It's been a bit busy. But at the end of the day, they all came in on Sunday. So earlier on today, they all came into the thing, and they all gone out for the day. I just said, let me crack on. I'm just going to make it look nice. Leave it with me. I'll show you what it's like. And they all come back, and they were all gobsmacked. They were like, wow. And I went, I told you, just literally give me the opportunity, and I will make this house look brand new. I'll make it feel brand new. We'll move things around. We'll put new posters up, new pictures, whatever. Posters. But no one has posters nowadays, I don't think. I'll put new pictures up. I'll build. I've got this design is fucking delightful for the main bedroom with a walk-in wardrobe that I can build. So I'm going to build a walk-in wardrobe for my eldest daughter. So we're going to get rid of this thing to give her more space. And I've got all these plans, and I've said, right, this is what I'm going to do over the next 6 months, hopefully. Do like a room a month. It's going to be a room a month because that's all I can afford. But at the same time, they've seen it, and then they all sat me down, and we all had dinner together for the first time in a long time, even though I'm going, and I was like, they were like, oh, you're going away, just want to spend some time with you. I was like, that's really nice. And we were just talking out, and they felt really nice. They said, if this is what you're going to do, I was like, I told you, I will make it feel like a new house. It'll be like a fresh start internally. Leave it with me. I'll do whatever I can. And that was rewarding for me today. That was absolutely rewarding because I'd made my family happy, and I've crippled my back doing it, but I've made my family happy, and they can see that there is going to be a little bit of light around the corner from the recent events, and that is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's sort of, that's kind of, and that's just like literally this week. That's just literally this week. That's it. And today, completely and utterly shattered. After that, I was doing, I had to log in to do loads of work stuff because I was behind from work because last week was a busy week. So I had to put all my claims in to get all my money. I've just literally been non-stop. And I said today, I'm going to jump on a podcast and say hello to everybody. I've got some new listeners as well. Thank you very much. I check the stats all the time, but I mean new listeners that have actually spoke to me in the sense I've got a couple of old friends that actually listen to my TikToks. And they were like, mate, what are you doing for fucking TikToks? They're amazing. Because I do little 2-minute videos on TikTok under the Gentleman's Talk, where it's funny. I just do little helpful one-liners, a little bit of funny here and there. And I just do it as a little sideline, really. I don't really answer any questions or anything like that. I just literally, I talk to the odd people and I just offer the little small segments of each of my podcasts, really, and life in general, what helps me get going and stuff like that. And he messaged me and I was, oh, mate, well, you should listen to my podcast. He was like, fucking, I'm all over it. He was like, and do you know what? I hadn't spoke to him about 3 years. And this guy just popped up and Chris, his name is, and he was like, nice, brilliant. And then I've got new listeners. My mate, I spoke about with his, with his motorbike, passed his fucking mod 1, only gone and passed it. My man passed it. So, super happy for him. He's now on the motorbike, now on the road to making the memories, with his dad. So fucking literally, he waited a week. All right, we had that little mishap. I was a bit upset for him, but to get that news, absolutely fantastic. He messaged me saying, Mod 1 passed. And he passed it in the rain, wet floor, and a little bit of hailstone. And last time it was a dry, sunny day, and he's fucking skittering along the road like fucking, Roadrunner. And then on the second time round, he's boshed it. He's absolutely smashed it in worse condition. So, like, super proud. Really, really good things that. So... And then, sort of kind of finished on that. So, that was absolutely amazing. And this weekend's been absolutely buzzing. Absolutely. And I could see a way forward. Although it's a lot of hard work for me, I can see a way forward. And it's really good trying to turn the family around and stuff like that. And then I sort of kind of, wow, right, brilliant. Here we go. I'm going to sit in and talk about, I was trying to think of my subject, how to present it really. Because... whilst I've been doing, and I've had a lot of busy time, but obviously I still incorporate my process. I still incorporate the things that make me tick. And you know what I'm talking about, reflection. Getting out there and reflecting. And I chose a topic to reflect on this week, actually, and it was on the back of, somebody who messaged me, and it was an old friend of mine, messaged me, and said, do you talk on the mobile? Do you talk? Do you do voice chat? That was it. Do you do voice chat? And I went, not really, mate. I'm not gonna lie to you, not really, mate. He's like, oh, okay. I do face to faces. And anyway, but the way I said it was a little bit arrogant, really, because do I do voice chat? Maybe you wanted to chat, and it stirred up a lot of kind of different emotions, different ways of looking at that on my reflection. Sorry, bear with me. My back just twinged there. Bloody hell, that was a bit painful. And it stirred up a mixture of emotions on all of my reflection walks. And I was like, this is a topic for Sunday. Absolutely. And it's about communication. After they received that message and how I treated it, it was about communication. Now, communication is vital, isn't it? We talk about that, reaching out all the time. And it was like, when I messaged back, said, oh, no, not really, mate, but I can schedule it. We can schedule in chats. Let me know when you're free, and I'll try and make myself available. That was that kind of conversation. And I know that, I always ask people to let me know when you're going to ring. And the reason I do that, and it does come across quite arrogant, I know it does, and I'm probably a bit like, fucking hell, who does he think he is? And the reason being is about a year ago, or over a year ago, actually, when I was in my last role, my last job, my last company, I was on call. I might as well have been on call 24/7, literally 24/7. I would get phone calls on my days off. I would get phone calls on my fucking weekends. I would get phone calls in the evenings about fucking jobs. Honestly, it'd be constant, and I literally lived. No wonder it stressed me out. So I made an executive decision when I left there to go, right, I'm not going to answer my phone 24/7. You're going to schedule a fucking call in with me. If it works for me, depending on what I'm doing with my family or what I'm doing with my own personal time, I'll say yes or no. And I get a lot of people when they ring me out the blue and they go, and you're not answering your fucking phone, and rung you twice. And I get it a lot. There'll be people listening to this going, you never answer your fucking phone. Billy, you fucking don't even say a word. And the reason being is because when I pulled away from being available 24/7, I actually don't get as much phone calls because people say, are you free? And I say no. And then they say, okay, then. And I suggest something and they never ring me and I never ring them. And that's what happens. It just dissipates. It's a shit sandwich, isn't it? You know? And I didn't want to be available 24/7 because it was stressing me out. It stressed me out before and I didn't want to do it this time. But I think you need to find a happy medium because I kind of go the other way now. I go like, oh, fucking, well, someone's rang me out the blue. Absolutely not. We're not talking because I'm not fucking ready for a chatteroony. And I noticed that, and I only noticed that because, well, it was actually one person. It was actually Billy that said it. He said, you never answer your fucking phone. No one, and I think it's because he's a little bit more upfront. I wouldn't say a little bit more, a lot more upfront, in the sense that he literally, he tells me when I'm being a dick, and he tells me when I'm fucking, I've fucking been out of order or whatever, you know, and we sort of kind of, we've done a few podcasts together, so he kind of understands a little bit about me, and you know, I think he's just not afraid of saying these things. So when he said about this, and he's gone, you never answer your fucking phone. Whereas if it had been like, you know, my mate Kieran or my brother or someone, they'd have just gone like, yeah, it's all right, well, I do the same. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like, he's like, no, I'm ringing you, mate, you need to fucking ring. So I reflected quite heavily and I was like, well, I see this from 2 points of view. To be available 24/7 is fucking horrible. Nobody wants to be available 24/7. But to not be available at all is just as arrogant and just probably even worse for your mental health and the other people's, because maybe they want to talk to you. So you have to find a happy medium. And I think I've found the happy medium actually since the Billster basically said about these things. I do try now consciously to answer the phone. I do, I really do, because it might be, and this is where I talk about the mental health, and this is where it feeds into the mental health, because what if somebody phones you and says, you know, or rings you and you don't answer, and that was the final call, that was the call they really, really wanted, you'd be devastated, wouldn't you? So, I mean, although you can sort of kind of caveat that a little bit with, you know, most people text now, so we do normally text. I'm quite an open person at texting. It's almost a way of being open and honest, but not actually showing the tone and the emotion of your voice. It's kind of an initial first step to dealing with mental health. If you text someone, can I have a chat? Or I'm feeling fucking bit low, can I have a chat? You'd spark to it then, wouldn't you? And most of the people I spoke to actually, they do say that one of my mates, and this is more so actually the military. I've got quite a few friends in the military, and they always, you know, they turn around to me and say, what would you do in this sort of situation? Or, you know, someone said this, what would you do? And I often offer them a little bit of advice or a little bit of support. And that's kind of where that sort of step comes in, really. Sorry, it's got something in my eye. And, that's where, so it's trying to find that balance. And I think I found it. To offer a little bit of advice. So I think that, I've managed, I think it's the beauty, I say I found it on my phone. So basically I can switch my phone off now, and there's a select few people that can still ring me no matter what. Okay, so if you're in my immediate support network, you know, people I talk to all the time religiously, you'll be able to ring me even if my phone was off. You would even get, I think you'd even be able to get a signal through to me on the SOS app. I think it's something to do with iPhone. And basically, a certain select people can ring you no matter what. They'll call through. Apart from, obviously, if your battery's dead, obviously. But I'm talking if, like, you switch your phone off or you're out of signal, it'll probably try and get an SOS notification for you or something. I think it does. Or as soon as you get signal, they'll let you know you've called. But that's a kind of... That's the way of mitigating, I think, for me, and still being available for the people that I talk to regular that I would notice. And I would like to assume, maybe assume wrongly, that if someone was outside my network, they would message me. And do you know what? It sort of kind of brings it onto a little bit with regards to that. The guy that said to me, I've just seen your TikToks, mate, fucking mega. And I already know he had he had not issues, that's the wrong word. I already know he'd had a lot of stress going on when I knew him. So that's the easiest way to put it. And we had good conversations. And that's kind of where, and I did a little bit of spray designing helmets and stuff for him for a couple of his leaving gifts. So, you know, we used to chat quite regular. So, and then we kind of, you know, it's like anything, we were work friends, and we sort of kind of knew each other, but it never sort of kind of, it's not something you would ring constantly. But he messaged me out of the blue, actually, and he was like, Bosh, you know, these are amazing. Sent him to the podcast, and I already know that is... if he'd have said something there, and I said to him, how are you, mate? And he was like, no, I'm doing really well. And he was like, how are you? So I'd like to think that was when a man would probably say, no, I'm not doing it. If you're an open and honest person, but that's what we're trying to promote here, isn't it? Open and honesty. So really sort of to drill back, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this, of being available 24/7. I mean, like I said, I've got this emergency thing where my select few can ring me at all times. My phone number is with everybody. Everybody that I know has my phone number. Everybody that I care about, genuinely, away from social media. The genuine people. I mean, social media are all fake for me. It's just it's basically just an iCloud account. This is the way I see it, and a little bit of fun to mark occasions. So hopefully when I pass, if Facebook's still around, you know, the girls will look back and see what the fuck I was doing in, you know, fucking 1997 when I fucking started it, or whenever it was. You know, so that's kind of everybody I want and everybody I talk to regular on my phone, so they can always get hold of me. And anybody that was in my support network has got my phone number. Anyone that I've ever known and spoke to that's had my number, I've got their number, you've got my number. So I don't really need social media side of things. But so I'd like to think any one of them can call me at any point or text me. You know, I think it'd be a bit strange. Saying that, I've had a couple of phone calls out of a really good friend of mine, Loz. That is his name, Loz. Really good guy. And, you know, he messaged me out of the blue to ask me if I can get hold of paint for him. Not like, how are you, mate, or anything. So, you know, and I answered that phone call. So, you know, I do answer phone calls every now and then. But it'd be interesting to know what you think, really, in the sense of, do you think we're actually too available now? Like, and I casted my mind back a little bit this when I was deep in reflection, and I was reflecting back to, obviously, my childhood, where I never had mobile phones. So, literally, it was like, you were out, if it was pissing down rain, you weren't out. Do you know what I mean? Unless you were hardcore, like I was. But you never had that communication, so I never grew up with the stress. It's probably why I'm a little bit against being available 24/7, because I don't think it should be that way. Maybe it's because it's just the way I was raised. But it'd be interesting to know, like, because I know my daughters are on their fucking phone 24/7, and it absolutely infuriates me. But it'd be interesting to know what you think about that. It'd be interesting to know your views in the sense of, you know, do you think you're being available too much? Do you have a way of managing that and actually stopping yourself from being stressed out? Do you have your work fucking numbers on your personal mobile? So they're ringing you on your personal mobile. That's fucking you. I used to do that all the time. I still get fucking phone calls now from the place I left 2.5 years ago. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing ringing me, mate? Do you know what I mean? Because I gave these people my personal number to call me. And they used to. If they couldn't get through to anyone, they used to just fucking ring me. And I used to ring work and say, where the fuck are you? You know, even when it was my day off. That was how crazy it was. Now I go, no. Absolutely no one in work is having my fucking number. You know, and if you want to talk to me, and unless you're a friend from work, obviously, if you become a friend and you make it onto my friend's phone number list, as we call it, my personal phone, then yeah, absolutely, we'll talk all day long, because I like and respect you. But most people aren't on that. They're on my works phone, and that is it. So when that works phone is off, that is it. It's off. When it's out of fucking signal, it's out of signal. That's all you're getting out of me. I can't fucking help the you know, the way the world is. So, but do you think you're available too often? Have you given your number out to fucking so many people that you have made yourself too available? do you see it from the other side? Do you also think that actually people should be available? I'm in my hour of need. I don't personally think that. I think you should be available for the people that you've nurtured in your friendship group, and I am absolutely. Like I said, I've got those 5 people, and obviously, my family, obviously, and my friends, my close 4 friends. They've all got that. They're all locked in to that, so they can always get a message to me or always ring me. And that's important for me. That's the way, I think that's a great way of looking at it. Everyone else, if you're not in my immediate, then I won't stress about you, because this is what I've talked about, isn't it? Not stressing about the things that we can't control. I can't control what's going to happen. I can't look after everybody in this world. I can't be available to everybody, but maybe you do. Maybe you make yourself too available. Maybe you make yourself that kind of person that's just always there, and now you don't realise why your workload's increased or why your stress levels are increased. Especially if you're walking around work and people are like ringing you to do with something. I've had that loads of times. People ring me and they go, "Oh, can I ask you a question?" And it's nothing to do with your fucking job at all. "Oh, I got your number off such and such." Well, you can tell such and such to fuck off for giving my number out. And then I'll see such and such and go, "Why'd you give my number?" "Oh, I want to get hold of you." "It's my personal number, mate. I gave it to you as a friend. You're now blocked, and now he's blocked. Now fuck off." And I'm quite brutal, because I don't abuse that fucking trust by passing it around and going, "Oh, someone needs to contact you about work on my personal number." Fuck off. If it's in work, if it's to do with work, talk about work in work's hours. If I'm out of work's hours, I'm either on fucking flexi, weekend or holiday. Fuck off. Leave me alone. And I think that you do. And sometimes you can make yourself too available for your friends. You have to be careful of that, because you may end up trying to dive into loads of people's lives. And we talk about how, "Oh, Christ, I need so many friends. I want so many friends." And then you stress, because everybody's got different personalities. And all of those personalities mixed together, they could be a bit too much. And they could all be offloading on you, and you could just be a sponge for their problems. So it'd be interesting. Do you think that you're too available? I've got to try and get a balance. I'm trying to learn the balance. But sometimes if I don't answer the phone, though, and it's genuinely because I don't want to talk, I don't, that's when I'm making myself unavailable, because I'm not in full communicative. I don't know if that's a word, but if it isn't, it should be. I mean, the English word makes so many different fucking ways of saying things. So communicative. Yeah. A sort of way around it. And it's kind of like, I think that's the whole point, isn't it? Are you making yourself too available? Have people contacting you when you're off work? Have you got friends that are contacting you and they're offloading all the time and you're like, "Fuck, I need a break"? And I think a lot of the stress on the children nowadays is because they've made themselves too emotionally available for their friends. So their friends you'll always get somebody that will sit in a fucking friendship group and just take the abuse or take the offload. And I did it for years. And do you know what? I used to always be an ear for the family, and they used to all fucking say to me, "I don't like this, and this," and I used to get offloaded all the time. And then one day, I absolutely fucking exploded after a few drinks, and it was like a fucking volcano. And it was because I was like, I'm sick to death of listening to all of your shit. And trying to make me have an opinion on it. I don't fucking care. You should all talk to each other. And then we go back, talking and being open with each other. If all of them just spoke to each other, they wouldn't have to offload. And maybe your friends are just offloading on you and you're not getting fucking shut-eyeing away from it. You're just being constantly bombarded by everyone else's negative problems. And you think by you offloading your negative to them constantly, do you think that's maybe wearing them fucking down? So you've got to get that balance. You've got to get that positive as well as the negative, because a problem shared is a problem halved. I'm absolute advocate of that. And but it's just making sure we manage the amount of information that we give and how we control it. And also, all of this can be fucking underpinned and caveated, some good words there chucked at you on a Sunday. They can all be done by making sure you do the well-being things and the mental health things, the reflection, meditation, eating healthy, fucking plenty of water, fucking exercise. It's all there. You doing all that, it'll make you feel better. It will help you and this is where I can almost like a tree, I can pull another branch in here where I spoke to you about managing those things, managing the basics. So when we get kicked in the dick by the fucking big ones, you know, we can manage life, and it all encompasses if everybody does that. If everybody was open and honest with each other with their feelings and emotions, without being, you know, an arrogant twat about it, but actually saying, mate, that fucking affected me. And I'm not talking about, you know, offloading everything, but I'm talking about conversations between each other. If you've had an argument or your, you know, discussion or whatever, or even we do it all the time when we have positive occasions, don't we? Fucking hell, that was an amazing day. I absolutely fucking love it. Thanks for looking after me today, mate. Great fucking food, great pie. I do it all the time. But then the next day, you know, but we don't do it enough for when we're having bad times. We don't open up enough and say, fucking hell, dude, you know, I could really do with a fucking pint, or could do this, could just go and have a fucking chat. Don't have to revolve around alcohol. I just like a bit of a booze. So it'd be interesting to know what you think. I'm going to leave it there because I have droned on enough before my big week away. And, yeah, I've been prompted about this next podcast, this live with the cherry popper, we're calling it. I'm going to try and get that locked in. I need to get it locked in because it needs to happen. But I hope you're okay. I hope that you've got something out of this today. Like I say, communication, maybe a bit of food for thought for you. Maybe to think about how you are obtainable. Are you too readily available? Are you having work contact you out of hours and you think is a good thing? Maybe that's adding to the stress. We all need to shut down. Gone are the days where we all think, oh, Christ, if they don't have my number and they don't call me, then I'm not going to get promoted, or I'm not going to get the bonus, or no one's going to know I'm there. That normally means you're doing a really shit job in work's time then, when you should be there, because that's when they would notice that you've gone. Because you've gone and they wouldn't need to ring you up. And if they do ring you up and you're not available, then it just goes to show they need to carry on and man up, and that'll make your life easier in the long run. Not man up. They need to upskill and get more people involved. And then what you need to do then is it'll make your life easier because you'll have more trained people, so you're getting less stress anyway. Do you see what I mean? If you work hard enough in work, you're still going to get promoted. You're still going to get the bonus. You're still going to get looked after. Because you're doing the things you are. You can still go above and beyond without being readily available 24/7, stressing you out, when you should be shutting down. I love this part now. I switch my computer off. I don't fucking think about it. I just go like, bosh. Until, obviously, today, break from the norm, because I know I've got a busy week next week. But that's just pre-planning. That's what you've got to do sometimes. But that's a quick hour, job done. But don't make yourself available all the time. Have that time away. When you go away for a week and you go away on holiday and wait with your family or whatever, switch your fucking phone off and spend your dedicated time with them. Don't sit there and post fucking photos or worry about uploading things at the end of the day. Shut off your social media. Your friends know where you've gone. Your family know where you've gone. And just take a week away from the norm. That's break away. I'm looking forward to that point where I go, guys, I'll talk to you in a fucking week. Because I want to go and relax. I want to go and just chill out. I'm going to shut all my media off. I don't fucking care. And I've done it before. I ruined the last holiday by sitting there and doing a day and then coming back and going, and uploading the photos. I should just shut my fucking phone. I shouldn't even take my phone. I need my phone. We live with our phones. But I should just shut it off. And I'm learning to do that more. I'm learning to switch my phone off. I've got a thing actually, goes into sleep mode at 9 o'clock. And completely and utterly shuts down all signals. So the only people that will come through is my emergency numbers. So yeah, have a think, have a reflect, have a little think about how you're managing things, and then a little bit of food for thought. Send in your food for thought. Jump on Facebook, The Gentleman's Talk, and leave a message and see if you've got a topic that you want me to talk about. Check out TikTok. I'm on there as well, The Gentleman's Talk. And obviously on YouTube, The Gentleman's Talk. So I'm on other platforms if you want to leave a message or something you want to talk to me about. And obviously, like, follow, comments, and all the other good stuff always helps to promote it a little bit. But I'm away for a few days. But I'll have lots to talk about when I get back. So, yeah, it'd be amazing. So, yeah, thanks very much for listening. I hope you're okay. Have a smashing week if you've listened to this in the early hours of this week. If not, just have a great time. Just look positively at everything as much as you can. Take care, everyone. Bye.